Let's take a look at workshops 1 and 2. The heart of the iFightDepression tool are the workshops, which you will now get to know. At the top of the workshops section is a workshop list. The 6 core workshops appear in light gray, and the optional workshops, of which there is 1 in the adult version and 3 in the version for younger people, are darker gray. There is also an introduction to the workshops which contains general information about them. Additionally, some information is provided about the usage of the workshops. The bottom of the page contains a table which presents an overview of the workshop contents and activities, as well as the worksheets which correspond to each of the workshops. As you can see, as patients work their way through the tool, they have access to more and more exercises. Patients should be encouraged to complete these worksheets consecutively. Although this may mean more tasks for the patient, the abilities and skills they learn will be better consolidated. The tool will therefore be of greater benefit. All workshops, except for the first, begin with a recap of previous content. The text at the top of this section provides an overview of what to expect in the present workshop. On the right-hand side, there is a green box. This can be found in each workshop that contains a worksheet. Patients can decide whether they want to fill in a new worksheet online or if they want to print it and fill it in by hand. When the patient has already filled in a worksheet, they have the option to use their last entry as a template. When you click on Complete Worksheet, the online version of the worksheet will be shown and the worksheet can be filled in. We will take a closer look at an example worksheet later. When you click on Print Version in the green box, the worksheet will be displayed in a new tab or window and can be printed. This way, patients always have access to the worksheets. If they wish to edit an existing worksheet, they can do so by selecting that worksheet from the list of the Start page that we saw earlier. If they wish to complete a new worksheet, they can easily do that via the green box. Additionally, there is a blank PDF sheet that the patients can print. Patients can find these PDF versions under Example Worksheets or in the Download section under My Profile. Now, let's look at the first workshop in a bit more detail. This workshop is broken down into several subheadings or topics. As in every workshop, these subtopics can be accessed via drop-down menus. This particular workshop is focused on thinking, feeling, and doing. The first of the gray drop-down areas is titled Thinking, Feeling, and Doing. We recommend that you read the workshop text and worksheet instructions later. You may also wish to complete a worksheet for yourself, as this will help you to address any questions your patients might have. The exercise for this workshop is an exercise in activity monitoring. Let's have a look at the worksheet. In the first workshop, patients are asked to document their daily activities and how they felt while doing it. The worksheet consists of different parts. The day of the week is displayed at the top. If your patient wants to go back to an earlier or later date, they can do so by selecting the past and upcoming calendar week. Patients can enter the start and end times of their activities. In the text box, there is room for patients to describe the activity. One aim of the exercise is to help patients find a good balance between obligatory, free time, and other activities. Activities can be categorized as such via a drop-down menu. Under Example Worksheet, you can find an example of an activity monitoring sheet. It provides an overview of some daily activities as well as the type of activity. This can be helpful for patients when they use the form. Each workshop terminates with a Well Done section and a summary of what was learned in the current workshop as well as what will be next. Patients are provided with a reminder that they should contact you should they feel worse and that they can share their worksheets with you. They are also encouraged to leave feedback about the tool. There is a link from the Well Done section to the My Profile section where the feedback window is always available. The opportunity to receive feedback from the patients, and of course you as a guiding health professional, if you would like, helps us as the providers of the iFightDepression tool to constantly improve. Any thoughts and suggestions are welcome. At the same time, the patient is instructed not to leave anything related to their medical condition or state of mood in the feedback section, as the feedback section is not constantly monitored. Let's look at workshop number 2. This workshop focuses on the relationship of sleep with depression. Before we have a closer look at this topic, we would like to say a few words. As you know, disturbed sleep is common in patients with depression. However, it is important to know that depressed patients are usually not sleepy, but rather feeling exhausted. Depression is a state with chronically increased brain arousal. This means that patients are in a state of higher alertness. A compensation for this heightened state of alertness might be withdrawal and avoidance of any external stimulation. This means that patients will become less active. Because they are exhausted, they may also have the desire to sleep. They stay in bed longer and take naps during the day, but cannot usually sleep well and feel more and more exhausted and frustrated. This means that, contrary to what might be intuitive when patients report being tired and exhausted, a light sleep reduction might be beneficial and have an antidepressant effect. When patients spend less time in bed, especially time in bed awake trying to fall asleep, the sleep drive actually increases and they might be therefore better able to fall asleep later on. The aim of this workshop is to help patients discover whether or not they feel worse the longer they stay in bed and to initiate a mild sleep reduction. Please note that for the purposes of your guidance, if a patient is having a harder time concentrating or feels worse when reducing their sleep, the sleep reduction should be stopped and the patient should contact you. Now, let's look a bit more closely at the content. Workshop 2 starts with a recap of Workshop 1. As I said earlier, the aim of this workshop is to help your patients check how the time they spend sleeping affects their depression symptoms. People are very different in this respect, so it is important for your patients to figure out how it works for them. Knowing more about the effects of sleep on mood could help improve their depression symptoms. This could be done by changing the amount of time your patient spends in bed or the time they are asleep. In this workshop, your patients will therefore learn how sleep and mood are related and why sleeping less might improve their mood. Again, it is important to note that patients with depression often have sleep problems. They feel exhausted, have the deep desire for a long and deep sleep, and want to wake up feeling refreshed. However, this could be part of a vicious cycle. Surprisingly, sleep deprivation is highly effective in many patients. Therefore, it is important for patients to monitor their sleep patterns and associated changes in mood. They can do this by using the sleep monitoring worksheet in this workshop. When patients observe that the longer they stay in bed or when they sleep during the day, the worse their mood, sleep reduction might be a promising method for improving their depression symptoms. In this exercise, your patients will be asked to keep a sleep diary, which includes recording times in bed for 28 days. To achieve this, patients can keep a pen and paper beside their bed to record their bedtimes, which they can later enter into their online worksheet. What is normal, or the right amount of sleep, can vary from person to person. Younger people need more sleep than older people. For most adults, between 7 and 9 hours is normal. This is the sleep monitoring worksheet on which your patients will record their bedtimes. Patients are asked to record the time they get up, their mood in the morning, the duration of time spent awake during the night, the resting times during the day, the time they go to bed, and their mood in the evening. The total number of hours spent in bed from the night and the previous day are calculated and displayed in a table at the bottom of the worksheet. In addition, their mood in the morning is highlighted. This is to help patients discover whether more sleep time leads to a better or worse mood for them. Patients might print this table and ask to discuss their results with you in order to receive your advice. However, it is important to remember that if patients have more trouble concentrating or worse when they reduce their sleep, sleep reduction should be discontinued. This is important as less concentration could be a potential danger in operating vehicles or machines. As in the last workshop, the worksheet is embedded in text explaining the background and how to use the worksheet. It is followed by the example worksheet and a blank PDF, as well as the final well done section. You have now reached the end of Unit 2 of Lesson 3.